equations. And we talked about the slope, and we talked about the slope-intercept form of line. And then we talked about different parts of graphs, the domain and the range. We talked about whether or not the variable is independent or dependent. Today we're going to start talking about linear systems. And linear systems are probably the most useful thing you're going to learn in advanced algebra, because they're the way that we figure out which things are the best cost, which things are the worst cost, which things are the better way to go. So for example, we did all of our texting plans a couple weeks ago, and we talked about, like, I make 3,000 texts, I only make 26 texts, you make 1,400 texts, whatever. One thing we could do with linear systems is look at the texting plans, like this one includes no minutes and costs $29, this one's unlimited minutes and costs $30, and find out what number of texts would I have to do so that the $29 one was cheaper or then more expensive than the unlimited. So we can use those linear systems to find the answers by solving the systems. So a system is just a set of two or more equations, like the two or more texting plans, the two different plans we could look at, that we solve simultaneously. So we solve them against each other or at the same time, in order to find the point where they intersect, which would be the break-even point. That's the point where those two texting plans cost exactly the same. So that would be the solution to that, and then you can look at the two lines and see which one would be more and which one would be less. There are 4 different ways that we can solve systems. The first way that I've written down, and probably the way that many of you will select to solve your systems, is by graphing using your calculators. So, you're going to need to get your calculators out.
At this moment?
Yep, we're going to show you how. Alright, to solve systems on our calculators, first thing you have to do is just turn it on. So we're going to slide this up a little bit. And now we have that strange random streak there. We'll try to work between here. What we need to do is just go into our y equals. You can see our y equals over there. There we go. And you're going to put in the 2 different equations you're solving. So in this case, I just made up 2 equations. But let's say my first equation was 2x plus 5. And my second equation was x plus 2. If I have each of those equations, so you can go ahead and put them in for a minute. I'm going to re-enter this one just for a second. X plus 2. When you hit graph, and you might have something turned on, let's see. How many of you have your stat plot still turned on? If you have some funky looking window, you need to go back to your second y equals and make sure all your stat plots are turned off. So second y equals, go back in, turn all those guys off. And then you can zoom. Remember, zoom will go to the right. And we want to just zoom to 6 standard. Standard just means it gives you the same amount up and down as it does side to side. And so the point where those 2 graphs equal exactly the same is this intersection point we have down here. And you could go through on your calculator and try to figure out where that is, or your calculator will tell you where it is. If you push second trace,
This is empty, I only have one line.
okay,
Me
let me
too.
look at a minute. Second trace, and then see where number 5 says intersect?
Yep.
You're gonna hit that and find out what the intersect point is. And you have to hit enter a couple times. So it tells you your first curve, and it gives you the line that you had in y1. And then it tells you the second curve, and it tells you what your equation was for y2. And then it gives you this guess thing, you can skip that. And then enter, and it tells you that those two graphs intersect at the point -3, -1. And it tells you in order, the x value, then the y value. So if we were solving that equation, and they said where do those graphs intersect, we would say they intersected at the point -3, -1. So remember, it tells you your x and y values, and it luckily puts it right in order. Okay, let's see if we can fix your